Hi guys, it's Faye,
And I'm Kit.
and welcome back to the channel.
I hate that.
So this week we're going to be discussing ideas, how we come up with them, how we kind of build on them, and yeah, that's kind of it. I don't know why I was talking as if there's going to be more. We're talking about ideas.
Yeah, most of these are kind of our way of thinking, which is we have learned over time is quite abstract. So it might not work for everyone, but there might be a few tips in there on how to build on ideas once you've got them.
Yeah, probably less on how to come up with ideas.
Yeah. I think for both of us, we're quite vivid dreamers. And I think we've both had at least one idea where we've kind of gone, I had a dream. It was really strange. I'm going to write a book about it.
Yeah, that's pretty much where my ideas come from. This was weird. I'm going to write about it.
Yeah. I think I've also drawn on, I might have like one character that kind of sparks like an idea from like a book or a film I've read, or I might see someone on the street and go, oh, they're really interesting. And then like my brain kind of spirals into imagining a life story for them. So I have those moments, but I think that's maybe like 40% of my ideas. And the rest of the 60% is I watched a movie in my brain while I was asleep, and now I want other people to see it too.
Yeah, pretty much. That's like, I don't even think I can come up with an idea whilst I'm awake. I'm just going to be completely honest there. Because I don't know, I can build on stuff, but I don't know. Like the series I'm currently working on is over the years, like I keep a note of all the weird dreams and ideas I have. The series I'm writing is a collation of like 12 different ideas I had. I've gone, oh, I'm going to turn this into a series.
Yeah, I think I've definitely come up with ideas that have been, so for example, there was a character that I'm currently writing, and it is based on like a man I saw at a bus stop once, and I kind of created this whole life around him, but it wasn't enough to build a whole book on, or like a whole idea. So then I've drawn other ideas together to make one project,
Hmm.
which I think is a good way of doing it if you want to include lots of different things. Like very rarely do I have an idea or a dream that is enough to be something on its own.
Oh yeah, like the general basis. So actually, the term is stimulus. Will come from like dreams and that. That's like your very basic. This kind of what I'm using. It's can be anything from a picture to a song, and then that will be the basis to grow your idea from. So, like, I just want to clarify as well. I don't have training in writing, but I have been a dancer for most of my life. So for dance, it's kind of the same with coming up with an idea as it is with writing, because you come up with a narrative. So yeah, your baseline is called a stimulus. It's what you use to create your ideas, and then you kind of just build from there. So really, ideas are just something that you've then built and piled up like pancakes.
Okay, I wondered where you were going with that.
No, because like you add like filling and stuff and toppings, like a I don't know, ice cream sundaes when you make them. I'm really hungry.
We should say it's like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Neither of us had like a proper lunch. We're both excited about dinner, and it's definitely a
And it's hot, so I want ice cream. But yeah, that's what I mean. Like people are like, oh, I don't know how to come up with an idea. Like no one just comes up with an idea. It's a bunch of little things that have been based around one thing. Does that make sense? I'm not very good at explaining myself in person.
I don't so much do it anymore, but what I used to do probably about 2-3 years ago before I properly got into writing was I would watch like a film or a TV series or a book or something, and I would pick characters out of that. And this is going to sound really like psychotic, But like as I was falling asleep, I'd create little scenarios with these characters, and it would be like, oh, so I'm currently reading Jack Reacher. So for example, it'd be like, oh, I went on a mission with Jack Reacher and we did this really amazing thing and rescued, I don't know, like a bunch of kids from a school that was going to explode or something along those lines. And then I think from there you can start kind of building on that creativity and change out, well, I can't have this character because he's copyrighted, but what if I did something similar and created my own character? And like you can do stuff like that, which is an easy way to kind of break into creating ideas. And then once you've got the ball rolling, start drawing on stuff that is really original.
Yeah, to be honest, I think with ideas, you never really stop building on it, which I think is like right in terms, you know, a lot of people have issues with finishing the book because you're still building on those ideas that you've started at the beginning, and you're still building on them right until the very end, and then you're like, well, how am I meant to finish it because I've still got all these other ideas? And that's how you end up starting a series.
Yeah, I've definitely done that in my current book. Is I had like, I don't really, when I come up with ideas, my brain doesn't put them down as book ideas. It's like writing them out as episodes for like a series. So there's a lot of like character arcs and things that happen in my brain that don't necessarily get down on paper because there's just not the time in a book that there is in a series to build all these things. And what I'm finding at the moment is I'm coming towards the end of the book, but like Faye said, there's a lot of like bits that I've missed that I'm like, oh, I wish that was in there, or I find myself keep writing and extending it into a longer book because I haven't got everything down yet. And it's something that you have to kind of find a way to condense what you really, really want in the book or the film, whatever you're writing, and then just kind of the rest can be background noise.
Talking about obviously how we build on ideas and stuff, because your stimulus can kind of come from anywhere. Like we said, most of ours will come from weird dreams that we've had that we just kind of build on from there. I will add Pinterest is an amazing place. I love like finding, like literally most of the time we'll just type in Pinterest fantasy art and just see what comes up, and then that will be like the building block to go from there, the foundation I mean, to like build on. But yeah, I think this is where we differ with building our ideas, because my first instinct is to then world build. So once I've got the basis of my idea, I build the world around it. So less against the plot, I guess, but more of like, I don't know how to explain it because I do actually go into plot. I work on like plot points, so very basic, juvenile. When I first start with an idea, I try and come up with a starting point, a middle, and an end, and then kind of world build to fill in the gaps. That's how I build on my ideas as a planner, like I've said in previous videos.
I tend to focus on the characters. I will have an idea and then I will build on a main character, maybe like a rival or a best friend or something that they can bounce off of each other, and then just start writing with those two characters in mind. And then as I get to a point where I need somebody else, I will then introduce new characters and new places and things where you're a lot more. Also, I think with your writing, you very, very rarely write in this world. It's always somewhere different that needs its own policies, it needs its own environment.
Yeah, I mean, our world sucks.
Yeah, but for example, I'm writing at the moment, I've just picked a small town in America and gone, that can happen in there. And then it takes all the world building out of my hands. It's preset, it's ready to go. And I quite enjoy that. And I don't have to think about it. Whereas you have like a real love of just building whole new legal systems, which blows my mind.
With like ideas, that really like I can't believe that you just go step by step. That hurts me.
Yeah. And it's usually why when I read back over a story, it seems like it's going in one direction and then it takes a turn and ends up in a completely different place from where it starts. It's just literally because that's what happens.
Yeah, no, I like to know where I'm going with it, which is why I come up with a start, a middle, and an end, and then just kind of fill in the blanks.
I usually have like a rough idea of where I want to end. I don't always end up there, but it's like this is going to happen at some point towards the end. It's not necessarily like I have no idea where I'm going. It's just
Yeah.
I have like a starting point and a rough end point and no idea how to get there. So I guess I'm not a full-blown pantser. No,
Yeah, you are.
yeah, I think I am. But it's more fun that way because you uncover things. There's more freedom, more imagination. Which, ironically, when I was thinking back to our previous video, where I'm saying like I have to set times and everything has to be neat and perfect for me to write, and then I just write complete rambles, and then you're like very free, but then you write very structured. It's like a complete juxtaposition.
You know, from what I've seen from like other people who are like planners versus pantsers, that is always the case. The pantsers,
Okay.
because they don't know where they're going, essentially, like not saying that you don't know what's going to happen, but you're kind of like going with the flow. You have structured sessions to write because it just kind of you're making it happen as it happens. Whereas like planners, again, this is just from what I've seen, planners, we don't really need to have a set schedule on when to write because we've already got all the information, we just need to put it down.
Yeah, that's fair.
I've seen a lot of planners, for example, Catty Tastic on YouTube. She writes out of chronological order because she's a planner. So she knows everything that's going to happen. So she writes the scenes that she wants to write, and then in editing, she puts it all together. And I mean, that personally, I don't like that. I like writing in chronological order, but that's what I mean with like planners, because you've already done all the, as you put it, the imagination part prior to actually writing anything. We can just kind of go write whenever we want. But we've kind of gone off topic. We're talking about ideas.
Yeah, was interesting to me.
You know, another thing that I find really helpful, music.
Yes, big time.
I
will always, when I start a new project, is like build a playlist. That is like the only thing I listen to. And I think because it's maybe like a 2-hour playlist and I listen to it, I don't know, say 3 or 4 times a week, it gets so familiar that it kind of like sparks the same creative stuff, I guess, so that it's always the same tempo in the writing.
Yeah, and I prefer like instrumentals because you're not distracted by the words. Like people who can like, watch TV and write at the same time.
Magicians. I don't know how they do it.
Absolutely. But yeah, love a good playlist. Maybe when we start doing our idea, we'll build a playlist and put it on our channel.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Anyway, how else do we build ideas? I mean, again, I just deep dive into world building, which then prompts plot. So I feel like you follow more your characters. I would say I follow more like a map. I don't know how to explain it. Like, I mean, for my series, obviously it is like a fantasy adventure, so they're literally moving along a map and stuff happens in certain places. So that's how the plot moves forwards, obviously with the character development and stuff as well. But that's how I would progress the story and progress the idea, especially filling in my blank parts.
Yeah, mine is geographically they tend to jump all over the place. So the project I'm working on at the moment is based in a small town, but there's hotspots within the town, so like the police station, the hospital, the forest, and they kind of ping pong all over it depending on where the character needs to be at the time. Whereas yours is a lot more structured it's also a much bigger area geographically that they're moving through.
What? Just thinking of like, as you were saying that, I feel like your writing style, now I'm going to compare it to TV shows, so just bear with me here. Your writing style reminds me of Teen Wolf. is it's depending on what's happening with the characters is where they go. Whereas mine, I would say, is more like Game of Thrones, as in like they're going through the map. The plan is they get from so and so gets from Winterfell to fucking what's it called, King's Landing,
Sure.
the capital, and the plot goes with the fact that they're going to this place. Like that's the push behind it. Like
Yeah,
that sounds
I
really
think that's a
cocky because
really,
obviously Game of Thrones is a book, but
I think that's a really good way of putting it. Yeah, and I think also because I tend to
or,
think in episodes rather than books, it's probably another reason my brain follows that kind of pathway of, even though I know I'm writing a book, my brain's like, oh, so like chapter 1 to 3 is going to be episode 1, and this is what happens needs to happen in episode 1, and blah 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 blah. That's,
I think as well it like depends on the story because
yeah,
obviously at the minute your current work in progress is very, from what I've read, it's obviously different points of view, and that's multiple storylines that are going to be coming and converging together. So it's going to be here, there, and everywhere at the moment until they converge and then goes on to a singular track. I don't know how to explain it. Whereas,
yeah, pretty much.
pretty much how I write all my stories that I've written so far is, like I said, start, middle, end. This is where they are. This is where they need to get to. Let's go.
Yeah, mine's a runaway train. Yours is designated public transport.
So I've got to say, yeah, normally late.
Accurate.
I think though with my first book that I finished, that was very. I think that was just the first one that I was doing properly from start to finish. I had the start of an idea, and then it wasn't until I got to the end of the start of my idea that I was like, I need the rest of it now, and then kind of went on to the next bit from there. So yeah, I just think it depends on the story as well. And you know, I think genre will have a lot to do with it. So I mean, yeah, building on like our pitch. So the story that we're going to try and write together, that won't be written in like a quest. Well, maybe part of it will. Depends. We need to discuss. But
Yeah, it's probably not, but I can see where you're going with it. But it might be.
yeah, so it will depend on obviously your, is it called your archetypes, story archetypes? So
For the
your
right.
story, I think it's called your story archetype. So like your hero's quest, your fucking whatever it's called. I keep saying bad words. I'm so sorry. Um, all I can remember off the top of my head is the hero's quest because it's just
Yeah.
one that is so commonly known, and it's like a whole cycle of what they go through, and that's basically based on a travel pattern because it's a quest. I don't know. I'm going to stop rambling. So, I mean, we kind of got a bit sidetracked there. Moved on to like plotting and stuff, which we'll discuss a bit more in another time. But yeah, back to obviously what we're talking about is ideas. You will never have a fully fleshed out book in your first lot of ideas. Even in your first draft, you'll probably still change a bunch of that when you start editing, based on new ideas that you get. Again, your ideas are like building blocks based off of your foundation, which would be your stimulus, whether that's weird dreams like us or a picture, a song, inspired by a certain character, like fan fiction, for example. Their stimulus will be based off a character or a celebrity or whatever.
Guy at a bus stop.
Guy at a bus stop. That's kind of weird, not gonna lie.
He was really interesting, and I'm not going to get into why because there's a whole
We'll talk about it later.
discussion of why I was watching people at the bus stop. But so that's how we come up with ideas, which, as we said at the start, is a bit weird and wonderful. So we'd be really interested to know how you guys come up with ideas, how you develop them. Maybe we can steal some top tips from you guys. So make sure you leave a comment down below, and we will be carrying on with the Let's Write, which goes more into the plot development that we were talking about, and you can see us fight about world building versus characters. So do make sure to subscribe to our channel, like our videos, and hit that notification bell if you want to know what's coming up next.
Also, as always, our socials are in the description, so come say hi.
Yeah, we'd love for you to be part of the discussion. Bye, guys.
Bye. No, you were here.
Was I
I'm
looking
pretty sure
down?
you said okay.
Would not be the first time that I've not listened to something. I'm so sorry. Okay, ready when you are.
So rude.